We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. A huge show in store for you tonight. We do have a lot to talk about. One big question. I don't know if I'm going to do a video after this and upload it on YouTube or not, but I've been getting a lot of questions from people about pretty much for me to explain zone blocking schemes. What is LSU going to do offensively on the offensive line? I've literally gotten like 9 or 10 people today ask me to talk through and go through zone blocking schemes. So I guess we'll go through it. We might get to that by the end of the show. Should LSU go into the portal for a quarterback? We'll talk about that. I do know, as I mentioned last night, I do know that LSU does not have a scholarship open in reference to being able to take a commit from the transfer portal, but this name, image, and likeness, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. We talked about that last night, but we'll dive a little bit deeper. I think LSU is looking to see what they can do there to add some depth just in case Miles Brennan does not come back. Does LSU's whole offensive scheme change? I don't think it does. A lot of people here locally are talking about, because you send it to me all day long, about this whole offensive scheme changing for LSU. I don't agree with that. We'll touch on that. Hashtag Ruffino's Rants. We're going to get into Texas A&M. Last night, if you missed it, I was being sent by a lot of people. C. King sent me a video. Paul Batts sent me a video of Tex Ags saying something kind of just stupid about the city, or Baton Rouge, and just the city of Baton Rouge, and really Louisiana and LSU. So now I'm going to fire off at Tex Ags. We're going to get into that. Hashtag Ruffino's Rants is coming. I just don't understand why they can't keep LSU out of their mouths. The cockiest fan base in the SEC right now, before Texas gets in here, and a team that hasn't won shit. You haven't won the SEC West. We'll get into it. But before we do that, let's get to a couple of these comments. Mike Bazile, our financial advisor, says, let's Lego. Kenny says that he's watching. Kenny, you say that every time. Kenny's watching. I like you, Kenny. Ryan says, never fear, Blake is here. Joseph says, let's go. Marvin Mackey says, let's go, long titty. If you missed the show last night, I kind of went on a little rant about the Texas A&M fan that kind of yelled at me and got mad at me, calling him long titty, no nipple having ass. Brian says, I know this isn't LSU. Okay. But you spelled no wrong, but we'll get into that. Terry says, Roofy, bring the heat. We'll bring the heat. We're 100% going to bring the heat about Texas A&M. But before we get to Texas A&M and the Rudy Poo candy asses, Texas A&M fans, we got to pay some bills around this thing. Guys, the lights don't stay on unless we pay the bills around this thing. None better than our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons and BetOnline.ag. Guys, with 63 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to serve your vehicle, your RV, your camper, your big rig better than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And tell them your good friend, Mr. Blake Ruffino, over at AYS, sent you on by. And our good friends over at betonline.ag. Guys, I've been mentioning about this for months. You guys are already starting to do it. BetOnline's telling me that you're getting over to their website and placing your mobile bets now that it is legal in the state of Louisiana. Get on over there today to BetOnline. Place all your mobile bets. And you need to do it. NFL, college football is right around the corner. MVP, whatever. Major League Baseball was on there last night. Got me a little bit of a bet. Got the Diamondbacks minus 150 last night in the win. So I was glad to pick up that. But you got to get over there today. Tell him your good friend, Mr. Blake Ruffino, sent you on by, and let him know you're having a good time. BetOnline.ag. BetOnline.ag. All right, let's get this thing rolling. We got a lot of comments rolling in. Peggy Red says, hashtag go Tigers. Yes, ma'am. The kind of the mother hen to to LSU football, wouldn't you guys say, from a social media standpoint? Peggy Red, the mama hen that gets after your Rudy Poo asses if you talk about her babies at LSU. All right, I see a lot of people asking me this. Kevin says, titty nipple, titty nipple. Yeah, a lot of people got mad last night. One guy got so mad, he sent me a long DM about how I can't go on my show and say the words titty nipple because he wants to hear me talk about football. So apparently, shame on me. Yeah. Okay. Brother, it's my podcast. It's my show. I can do what I want. All right. Before we get started, I also forgot to mention this. Guys, do us a favor. Hit the like. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share it to all your social media platforms. If you're on Facebook, do us also a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the share. It helps us greatly when you do that. And if you're on Periscope, Twitter, don't forget to hit that retweet. We will get to a lot of comments tonight, but Joseph says, damn, you could have swore that the Aggies just won something. And let's just start there because a lot of people are bringing it up about Texas A&M. If you missed it, there was a video posted, and the video wound up getting out of Dustin Harris, a guy that's employed by Texags. He came out and said somehow him and Olin Buchanan's come on the show multiple times, but him and Olin Buchanan were talking, and Dustin Harris said something about Baton Rouge smelling like sweaty feet, that it smells horrible. It's a disgusting city. It smells like feet and beer. You know, it would be one thing. You know, there's one thing that I do on this show, and I talk about teams. I will tell you that I have no faith in Texas A&M. I don't know if they have a quarterback. We got to wait and see. I will tell you that I think that Florida can't, or it's going to have to show me a lot on both lines of scrimmage. I can come out here and say I think that Kentucky has the best offensive line in the SEC. I come on here every single night and talk about LSU. I can tell you what is Alabama. Is this the time that Alabama finally has an issue because they don't have enough experience with their starters? They're replacing 84% of their production on offense, 79% of their production on defense. I can tell you that Brian Harsin over at Auburn is going to struggle in his first year. I can tell you that I really like Eli Drinkowitz and Lane Kiffin and how they call plays. But the one thing that I don't freaking do, the one thing that I can even say, you know, that the fan base at A&M's cocky, but the one thing that I don't do, and I try not to do, is talk about where people live and where people are from, because it's very passionate. People are passionate about where they come from. And even if I do, like, people are always in my comments talking about, you know, Austin is a really weird place. It smells like asshole. That's what you say in my comments. I never come out and say that. Even though I may agree or disagree with you, I never come out and say that. But a publication, a place like Texags, a guy employed in Dustin Harris, who, by the way, did not reply to my direct message for him to come on to the show tonight. I probably shouldn't have told him why I wanted him to come on. Texas A&M, even over the past weekend, and I told you what happened this past weekend. If you didn't catch the show, go back and listen to what we talked about Monday, and I gave you a clarification about what happened this past weekend at Texas A&M and how their linebackers coach broke the rules, how their linebackers coach is giving alcoholic beverages to individuals, how their linebackers coach is, after a dead period is passed at 1 a.m., he's hanging out with players' parents and players' families when he's not supposed to. So do you want me to come out here and tell you that you were cheating? So before you talk about Baton Rouge smelling like feet, you better make sure that you're not on a recruiting trip and your coaches are actively cheating. Because the one thing that we can do is we can call the NCAA with their phone numbers right here and report your Rudy Poo ass. You're not that big of a deal, A&M. You're not that big of a deal. You haven't won anything. Oh, Johnny Manziel. You mean the tattooed, drunk off his ass 9 times out of 10, the cheater and Johnny Manziel That's all you have to brag about? You have a Heisman Trophy winner, and you want to go out there and talk about Louisiana and Baton Rouge because every time you bring your ass down to Baton Rouge, you get your faces kicked in? I am tired of the state of Texas and the teams from the state of Texas talking about LSU. Now, the one thing that I do like is that we're constantly on their minds. They can't go an entire day without talking about LSU. So to all the fans and all the neg-tigers, all the people that are always negative about LSU, it should put in perspective to you how prestigious your program really is. So the most prestigious programs in Texas, my daddy drives a Rolls Royce. And then you go to A&M, my daddy drives an Aston Martin. You come over to Baton Rouge in their perspective, and you say, well, my dad drives a Ram 1500. That's what they think. It should give you some perspective of how good your program is. It should give you some perspective of how Ed Orgeron has led this team over the last couple of seasons. Yeah, I'll give you the 5-5. Ram him into the dirt about 5-5 during a pandemic and a COVID year. Go ahead and do it. I know you want to. I'm not going to. Because this team's really talented. This team's going to go 10-2 or 11-1. That's where I see them. Could they go 9-3? Absolutely. They're too talented to go 8-4. If they go 8-4, a lot of bad shit went wrong. But this team's not going to do it. So to Dustin Harris, Texas A&M, and to all of you A&M fans, keep our names out your mouth. Come November, there's going to be a reckoning, because I will promise you this. The coaching staff at LSU knows. I will promise you this, they've seen the video. I will promise you this, to all of you Texas A&M fans, the recruits that you think that you're getting, you're not. You're not. Because come hell and high water, we're going to make sure that you don't come into this state. We're going to make sure that the recruits that you're really going after, you're not going to get. Yeah, you might get a one every now and then, but you're not going to be relevant. Jimbo Fisher, okay, now it's time to prove it. How many years has Jimbo been at Texas A&M? What has he done? You know, the funny thing is that Ed Orgeron, if he would have done what Jimbo Fisher had done and not won a national title and would have gone 9-1 last year, people would be griping and complaining. And Ed Orgeron would, people in our local media would say to fire his candy ass. That's what they'd be saying. It's not an opinion. That's a fact. They're already doing it. The man won a title in 2019 and it's fire Ed Orgeron. When the truth is, those same people say that these words, LSU's going to go 9-3, 10-2, or 11-1. It's what they continuously say. But you know what? Fire Ed Orgeron. He's not building another champion. A&M fans, don't talk about us anymore, because the fact of it is, what is LSU against you? 7-3? 8-2? Oh, wait. Interesting. Wait, they've beaten your skull in how many times? I'm going to tell you this, though. I've talked a lot of crap about A&M just now. A lot of crap. One thing I didn't do is I told you I wouldn't do. I don't talk about College Station. I don't talk about how you have hundreds and hundreds of men that join arms and do a wave back and forth in a very big sausage fest. I don't make fun of that because it's a pride of your school. I don't make fun of College Station. Don't you ever talk about Baton Rouge again. If you got something to say, you bring your happy ass up into this podcast and you say it to somebody's face who can fire back. But everybody that wants to run out here and say and talk shit about LSU and Baton Rouge, I dare you to come on this podcast. You have an open invitation. If you cover sports, not just a random person. Mike Basile says on Facebook Live, my daddy once caught a bullet with his bare hands. My daddy drives an F-250. You know, like I don't understand it. Here's what I want every LSU fan to realize and understand. Let me write this down because I am going to clip this at the 18-minute and 30 mark. 18 minutes and 30 seconds. I hope that every LSU fan hears me and understands and listens to this. We got to stop beating ourselves up. We have to stop trying to talk negatively about our team. Can you be objective? Yes. You can be objective in the sense of, guys, the depth at quarterback really hurts. The loss of Miles Brennan, whether you like him, love him, or hate him, regardless of how that is, you can be objective about that. But at some point, as LSU fans, we got to start uniting. The one thing that I somewhat do envy a little bit about Texas and the cockiness that A&M fans have and Texas has is they go around in their circle jerk and they got one vision. One vision. Now, you got your fans, your lukewarm fans every here and there, but they're always doing the same exact thing. Don't go out there and say fire Ed Orgeron anymore. Get behind him. Support him. Let's go. Guys, 102,000. Bring your happy asses. Bring your happy asses into Death Valley because A&M comes in November. Let them know how much you dislike them and the circle jerks that they do. Let them know that. Let's get ready to roll, guys, because I am telling you, this team's going to be pretty damn good. This team's going to be pretty damn good. Jake Pete's never called a play before in his life. He's been on the headset for over 15 years. The guy knows what the frick he's doing. Neither did Joe Brady. Neither has a lot of individuals. Neither did what's your boy that was at Alabama a couple of years ago, now the head coach at Maryland. Guys, when you wear one of these things on the sidelines and you hear plays constantly called, you know what's going on. When you coach quarterbacks in the NFL, when you coach running backs in the NFL, Durante Jones can't call play. Guys, I'm telling you, we're going to be fine. We're going to be okay. DJ Mangus is back. Joe Brady's right-hand man. Nobody's talking about that man. Nobody. It's always Jake Peets, Jake Peets, Jake Peets. Nobody on the planet Earth is talking about DJ Mangus. But that's okay because really, people weren't really talking about Joe Brady until this time last year. So when camp starts off this week and you got Ed Orgeron after the first practice and he runs out here and tells you, guys, it's ready to go, rally behind his ass and let's go. You weren't able to go, most of you weren't able to go into a stadium last year and cheer on your team. And after the game is over, what you guys need to do, all 286 of you, every one of you, need to bring your happy asses in here for the postgame. That's what y'all need to do. Let's get a couple of these comments. Darren says, Johnny Manziel never beat LSU. Nothing for the Rudy Poo Ags to brag about. No. What's funny, too, is that Texas A&M feels like that they can talk when – guys, do you understand how difficult it is to win a national title? Do people fully understand how difficult it is to win a national title in college football? Name the teams in the last 20 years. Name them. It's not a laundry list of individuals. Or individual teams. You got USC, Ohio State, and then the South. Outside of Mississippi, Kentucky, and Tennessee, you could say, well, no, that's 1999. You could just say the Southeast. Not the South. North Carolina had one either. That's another one. Lamar says more like a lifted F-250. True. Craig Schilling says, I proudly drive my Ram 1500 with a country accent. If you guys don't know what that's from TikTok. My papa drives an Aston Martin. My daddy drives a 1500. Whatever he said. Marvin Mackey says, my daddy gonna whoop your daddy's ass. Cole Lejean Sends us some stars on Facebook, and so does Lester Abear. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate y'all doing that. Tasha Thibodeau from the Real LSU Nation says, hey, Blake, caught you live. Finally, go Tigers. I appreciate that. Guys, and go check out the Real LSU Nation. Tasha, I mean, I'm sure you guys know about the group. Go in there, post, be energetic. Let's get ready for some football season, because last year was just it wasn't a fun season all around. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I had fun last year. I hated the losses, but I had a lot of fun connecting and hanging out with you guys in the postgame and pregame and all week. Lester Abear says, you don't hear local media and texts calling for Jimbo's job. No, you don't. No, you don't. And the crazy thing about that is that Ed Orgeron at LSU is more accomplished than Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. More accomplished. The only reigning SEC head coach that has beaten Nick Saban in Alabama, Ed Orgeron. No, you don't hear, and you're probably not going to hear for a while because he went 9-1 and all this Rudy Poo stuff, and his team, and Jimbo's LSU had such a horrible defense last year that the offensive savant is named Jimbo Fisher couldn't score over 20 points. Guys, do you look, again, I've mentioned this a couple times this week. Do you realize how bad the offensive play calling was when TJ and Miles was in the game, and how much different it changed when Max was in there? And there are people saying that Max cannot throw the ball down the field accurately. What the hell did you watch? I posted a video today on Twitter, Blake J. Ruffino. Go watch it. I posted it. Don't tell me that Max Johnson is not a good thrower down the field when he's throwing a 45-yard bomb down the field to Kayshon Boutte in really good coverage, and it puts it in a place where Kayshon Boutte is the only person on the planet Earth that can catch it. Then today I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I better go watch Ole Miss. I better go watch it. 15 yards down the middle of the field, 25 yards on an out route, and then on the, I guess you could say he was on the right hash. It wasn't completely on the right hash. There was a 25-yard out route to Kayshon Boutte again. Then a comeback to Coy Moore. Hits Trey Palmer on a 24-yard out route. But the kid, what do you mean the kid can't throw the ball down the field? Like, what the Sam hell do you mean that he can't throw the ball down the field? By the way, speaking of Max Johnson, those same Rudy Poo candy asses at Texas A&M this entire weekend confirmed was talking mad shit about Max Johnson, was saying that the third-string defense could beat Max Johnson, and the linebackers coach was giggling his little ass off on a live video. So no. Blaine says, that man said sausage fest. I want that clip. I mean, it is. It's a sausage fest. But, I can run out here and make serious jokes about every fan base, LSU included. We're no different. I can make jokes about every team in the SEC and what their teams like, what their programs like. Don't come in here and talk about our city, bro. Nookie saying feet smelling city Swain is better than Swain Sausage Fest. I agree with that. Lamar says this defense is going to be lights out. Well, look, Lamar, what I will say is it's not that I disagree, and because I do agree with you. When we say lights out, what do we mean? I think that they're dangerous. Like, I do think that this defense is very dangerous. I don't know I really don't know what film and what game people watched last year. I get the defense was horrendous. I get the defense was bad. Glad Bo Pelini's out of there. Don't mean any of that. But guys, the last game of the season, last two games of the season, when a Max Johnson-led team turned your season completely around and got you momentum. The last two games, you had 7 interceptions. You forced 6 turnovers against Ole Miss and 4 turnovers against Florida. So you got 2 games where you forced 10 turnovers. Oh, this defense sucks. Guys, 10 freaking turnovers. When you're listen to me when I tell you this, and this is gonna piss a lot of people off. When you get 10, God bless Jesus if Joe Burrow in 2019 in 2 weeks would have had a defense that got him 10 turnovers. So now that defense, and look, Ole Miss and Florida scored a whole hell of a lot of points. Got a whole hell of a lot of yards. Yards don't mean shit when you don't score, though. When Jaquelin Roy is sacking Kyle Trask to force Florida into a field goal, doesn't mean it. And Cade York brings his beautiful ass out there and don't say anything. I'm just making a reference. And then kicks a 58-yard field goal in the fog. So I don't want to say that there'll be lights out because I don't know, Lamar, if a defense in this day and age can be lights out. What I think is lights out is if you only give up 14 to 17 points in today's game, guys, that's lights out. Your old way of smash mouth football, 3 yards in a cloud of dust and games going 10-9, 9-6 is over. It's over. Dominating defenses are dead. The AYS triple D. But I think they're going to be good, though. Brighton Escon says Texas A&M beat us in a 7 overtime game that shouldn't have went into overtime. And a COVID season. Poor Aggies picking the fight with Daddy. Yeah, they're picking a fight with Daddy. I love them. I love that the state of Texas is picking a fight with LSU. Guys, if a man walked up to you, to all you men and women, if a man walked up to you and said, "Hey, your city smells like asshole," and you're a jerk, what would you do? Don't tell me you would turn your face and giggle. A man that you don't know. Marvin says he's fired up. Well, Marvin, I saw you back in Civilization working today, dog. I saw you having a drink of beer. What's up with that, Marvin? My man Marvin's scressing, y'all. Not stressing, scressing. I feel you, man. I might get me a drink tonight too, bro. I might pour me a whiskey. Actually, you know what, Marvin? I'm right there with you. I'm going to do it. Tiki Tac Taco, I ain't seen you in a while, brother. What's been happening? He says, I'm 5 minutes behind, but your daddies have cars? ? Lucky. I got a dad. Derek Eason sends us some stars via Facebook. We appreciate that, guys. And let me tell you, I'm going to say this every time you do it. Every time you guys send us stars via Facebook, I greatly appreciate that. Terry says, totally agree. We as fans need to have a supportive vote. Look, and you can be critical. You can be critical when the time comes. But right now, in the beginning of the season, let's forget about last year. That's in reference to the win-loss column. Now, you got to use it if you're going to be objective and you want to talk about it. I get that. What I'm trying to say is rally behind O, rally behind this coaching staff, rally behind this team. Rally behind O, rally behind the staff, rally behind the team. Let's bring our happy asses into Death Valley and get ready to go. If you miss the atmosphere, it's time now. Tony Goudreau says the disrespect for Edo is real. It is. Guys, it is. It is. And, you know, you got the craziness behind all of this is I don't think people fully understand how when local media individuals go from on a national scale, like this morning I went on with Bill King, when they go on a national scale and talk that ish about LSU, that's not a unified unit. That's not a unified unit. You do have individuals out there because I get the text. Like, so for example, I'm not going to name the radio host and I'm not going to name the producer. Local media guy today went on to a radio show in Atlanta And then the producers texted me, bro, why do people hate Ed and LSU so much? That's the text that I got. And I'm like, bro, I don't know. I guess Title IX. I guess they want the elitist. There are some Baton Rouge people and some LSU people that want their coach to be an elitist. Those individuals don't win. Nick Saban is a guy from West Virginia whose daddy and himself used to pump gas. Dabo Swinney is a guy whose mom lived in a dorm with him at the University of Alabama, and he worked his way up, and he got his ass a job at Clemson, and then became the head coach, and the rest was history. Ed Orgeron is a guy that was shoveling shrimp into a boat because he quit at LSU. And then one day they called him, or his buddy Bobby Hebert called him and said, hey, baby, like that Hurricane Chris song, hey, baby, hey, baby, hey, baby. The rap song, y'all know what I'm talking about. Hey, baby, you want to come up here? And he said, hell yeah. Goes to Miami, has his lumps like all coaches do. These elite coaches that you're talking about don't come from easy backgrounds. They don't. See, I know what O came from. And I'm going to leave it at that. The man is succeeding at the job that he's always wanted, and people are shitting on him. Blaine says, I find it crazy that during the 2019 season, everyone was on the LSU Joe Burrow tip. Now they want to talk all kinds of shit. Winning covers a multitude of sins, and losing makes those sins bigger than what they are. Let me repeat that. Winning covers a multitude of sins, and losing makes those sins bigger. Lloyd says, for me, LSU football is a way of life. I live and die with them, regardless of their success or lack thereof. I agree with that. That's a good way to put it, Lloyd. Guys, do us a favor by hitting a like and share to some groups. We would greatly appreciate it. We got to give a quick shout out to our good friends, Mr. Richie Roche over at Roche's Lawn and Landscape, 225-937-7220. That's 225-937-7220. My good friend John Patton over at GMFS Mortgage, buying a new home, saving money on the mortgages you have now, or even doing that cash out refi. The timing has never been better. Give them a call today at 225-614-1234. That's 225-614-1234. Tell me good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Blake Schilling says, please tell me you saw the Jameis Winston video today. I did see it. Man, I'm starting to really like Jameis. Like, I'm really starting to rally behind Jameis. And he joked about it about himself. Like, he made a joke. He said, man, look, that second left pad got my ass. Funny thing was if you go see somebody else's video when they didn't crop it out, he turned right around, put his head down, and worked his ass off. I'm starting to really like Jameis. I agree with Mark here. He says, hit that like button and catch up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. PCG on YouTube says, why can't all just join hands and hate on Alabama? I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with all LSU fans joining hands and hating on Alabama. Guys, there's as much as 2019 was a offensive onslaught, talent, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall, Thaddeus Small, Sadiq Charles, Adrian McGee, Lloyd Cushenberry, Damian Lewis, Austin Deculus, Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. On the defensive side, Calavan Chesson, Brain Fajoko, Rashard Lawrence, Tyler Shelvin. Do I need to continue? I mean, I could go linebackers. I can go Jacob Phillips. I can go Patrick Quinn. I can go Stingley. I can go Fulton. I can go Jacoby Stevens. I can go Grant Delpit. The list can continue to go. Yes, those guys were on the field and they made the shit happen. The aura, maybe there's a better word other than aura. Maybe the atmosphere around LSU and the leadership and everything those guys did in the summer. Those guys put it in their minds, led by Joe Burrow, we're about to whip some open, as Bobby Boucher said, it's time to open up a can of whoop ass. And they went up there and opened a can of whoop ass. And then when LSU fans saw it, you rallied. You got to be able to have that right now. This team needs you. They need you. As much as you might not believe it, and this is a pom-pom waving show, I know people are going to say, Blake's waving the freaking pom-poms. Get ready to go. Don't let what you listen to from 9 or 7 to 7 o'clock sway you from what you need to do. Because from 7 to 7, there's going to be Rudy Poos that you listen to that's going to shit on this team. It's going to shit on your coaching staff. It's going to shit on your quarterback. Why does it comes from the West, it comes from the North, it comes from the East, and it doesn't come from the South because Louisiana's on the Gulf. Everybody else is doing it. You don't need to be doing it. Don't act like you don't watch my shows either. To the people that are doing it, don't act like you don't know who we are, because the funny thing is when you watch us on Twitter, I can see you always watching. Lamar says, meaning we may lead the nation in turnovers. Man, we could. I mean, look, if the last part of last season is any consolation of what's going to be led over into this season, guys, 10 turnovers in 2 weeks is absolutely amazing. Or was Florida 3? Regardless, 9 or 10 turnovers now that I'm thinking about it. You had the 2 interceptions, you had the fumble. I felt like we had 2 fumbles. I feel like Trask fumbled twice. Guys, Bean, count me on that. How many times did Florida turn the ball over last year against LSU? So 9 or 10. I mean, look, if you continue to do that with the offensive play calling, and I was going to get into this. Does LSU need to change their offensive philosophy this season? No. Now, I do agree with some, and I don't really agree with all of it. The offensive scheme does not need to change on what you're doing with Max Johnson. It doesn't need to change drastically. You just need to tell him until Miles Brennan comes back, or, as I'm going to also mention here, you go get a walk-on. Guys, name, image, and likeness changes everything. Name, image, and likeness changes everything. I brought this up last night about going to get a walk-on, getting him a sponsorship deal. Maybe he was a former scholarship guy, quarterback that was in the transfer portal, who's got some talent. Let him come in and be and have some depth on this team. A guy that can play a little bit, get him a deal. LSU can do that. LSU can do that. Doesn't go against your numbers against 25, but now you can go get him. You know who's already doing that? The Iowa Hawkeyes. They're starting to perfect having guys to walk on and getting them, and they're all of a sudden they're getting deals through NIL. You think that's just a magic trick? This isn't 50 Cent. This isn't, I got the magic trick. I know it said stick. We got the magic tricks. I know the song says magic stick. I'm just making a reference. This isn't 50 Cent, y'all. Let's see. Kenny Russell says, so let me get to that very quickly too. Let me get to this. If you can add depth and you can get a kid a deal, do it. But I don't think that you have to change your entire offensive scheme and also offensive play call. Now, I made a video about this, but I'm gonna kind of, I don't think I could really show you. No, you guys can't see that, so I'm just gonna post the video. In the zone blocking, so after tonight, maybe I'll just release it in the morning. I break down zone blocking schemes in this RPO game from a pen to pad paper. I show you, since so many people ask, and I would rather show it to you so that it gets more of an example and you can see it. And we'll walk through that. If Max is going to pull it, tell him to get down. But the problem is that, guys, you had this situation last year where you only had 2 scholarship quarterbacks. What's the difference now? And neither TJ Finley nor Max Johnson got hurt in that season and all SEC season. I'm not going into this season changing much. Yeah, I might change. Does Max need to get down? Does he need to not take so many hits? Do I need to tell him, hey, you need to force the ball in that RPO a little bit more? Yeah, sure. I'm with you there. Don't take any unnecessary hits. This scheme doesn't slow down. This offensive attack that LSU is about to put forth does not slow down. Get the ball out quickly, get it to your running backs, but the number one thing excuse me, the number one thing that's going to help this team is establishing a good running game. I'll explain that a little bit in my zone blocking scheme breakdown. But go get you some depth on the at quarterback. Hopefully your offensive line, which I thought they did good last year. I didn't think they were bad. I didn't think they were great. I thought that they were good. I've still had yet to have somebody can show me that the offensive line was bad. Like statistically, show me where they're bad. You want to talk about sacks? We can talk about those. Was a quarterback scrambling out, but when you still have those running backs averaging yards per carry of over 5, nobody's going to debate me that. So at what point are you going to sit here and tell me they were bad? They weren't bad. Weren't good. Let's see. Jeff 2 says Florida had 3 turnovers versus LSU in 2020, 1 fumble, 2 interceptions. Okay, so 9 total because Ole Miss did have 6. So 9, 10. So 9 turnovers in 2 weeks. That's a big deal. That's huge. That's huge. So if you go into the season continuously turning the ball over, what would have happened last year, guys, against Ole Miss if you don't have that? Thank you for the stat there, Jeff. Tony says that Garrett Nussmeier is capable too. I believe that he is. You just don't want to see him have to go out there and let him just kind of learn a little bit before he's got to go out there. Brandon Hollingsworth, the lanky lender, also over at GMFS Mortgage, says looked like he tried to spin going through that drill. Yeah, I saw that. And then Hollingsworth says, yeah, Brian, literally SEC basketball and basketball champs. I'm missing something there. But it's good seeing you, brother. Yeah, Houston is not College Station. I don't know who said that, but Houston is not College Station. That 337 guy says, hashtag ask Blake, do we have a number 2 wide receiver yet? See, I personally think that you do have a number 2 wide receiver. In my opinion, I think that, and I've been talking about him all offseason, I think that you have 2 guys that can make some really big impacts. I think that Coy Moore is a guy that can step up. We saw what he did in the last 2 games of last season. I think that Trey Palmer is a guy that could step up. You got this whole wide receiver room or whole wide receiver class, this freshman class. Guys, you bring in Jack Besh, who, for all intents and purposes, is a day 1 starter. He will be running with the ones Saturday morning. Or Saturday, Friday. I know that Mike Scarborough at TigerBait.com released the schedule of what's going on, so you can check that out on TigerBait.com. So, that kid, for all intents and purposes, is a day 1 starter. I named all of those guys but one. And my number 2 guy, and a guy that I thought that Max had a really good connection with in that Florida and Ole Miss game outside of Keyshawn Boutte, was Jeray Jenkins. A couple of times, if you remember, the first touchdown against Florida was a lob pass, a really good touch. It's a lob, beautiful to Jeray Jenkins. Can he get more involved? Big body wide receiver that can run. I like Jeray Jenkins. Can he get himself open? Can you schematically get him open? Because the kid runs good routes. If you can get him open, he can be dangerous in the open field. So I think that right now, Jeray Jenkins, as we start camp, is your number 2. Another guy that I haven't talked about a lot, and a guy from here, my town here locally, or from where I am locally in the North Shore, yes, Mike Scarborough, I said locally in the North Shore, is Devontae Lee. Guys, he's going to have to step it up. I don't know what's going on, but I think that he'll get some playing time. We'll see. Travis Cantrell says we need to have a tailgate party with all the AYS Weekly faithful this upcoming season. We'll see. BYOB. Bring your own alcohol. My mother says we should support him because he's from Louisiana. Don't understand it. See, my mama's getting nuck if you buck, y'all. Nuck if you buck, boy. Nuck if you buck. Bet y'all won't fight that woman. Shit. She can throw them hands. Trust me, I know. Buck says people acting like Joe was the only quarterback that won a championship. Sick of hearing that too. Yeah. He is the best, though. Navy MM2 NAS somewhere Sicily. I probably should be able to say that as an Italian, but I can't. Signella says every time you go to Houston, you have to close your windows and turn off the AC due to all the chemical leaks and fires around around I-225. How do they get I-225 and we don't? Like, well, shouldn't we have I-225? Brayton Escon says Coach O got it out the mud, and for that they hate. They do hate him. They don't like him. Eddie's asked me, he said, what are you drinking on tonight, Blake? Right now, I got some water. Right now, it's just a good old-fashioned water. I might get a drink tonight. We'll see. Watch my happy ass is going to go sit there and watch some football or something. Actually, TigerBait.com, Mike Scarborough comes on tonight. So I might watch that. I might put that on the TV. I might go watching that. We'll see. Kenny Russell says, I'm glad O came to LSU. No, I wasn't in choice of him at first, but like us all, we thought of better. But in the end, O is the best choice for LSU. He loves LSU, and he will always be willing to adapt and change. The mindset, it's made him win a national title. Look, Ed's adapted now. Ed's adapted. Something has been broken, he goes out and fix it. Last year was broken. Is he going to come back out and fix it? That has been his MO. Matt Canada was broke. He came back and fixed it. Let's even go before that. Les Miles and all the Rudy Poo stuff he was doing, that was broke. Ed came in, rallied the troops. He fixed it. Troy, next week, lose to Troy. Next week comes out, beats Florida. I don't care about that Troy loss. Everybody is all ashamed about the Troy loss, like Nick Saban didn't lose to ULM back in the Gap. That shit don't bother me one iota. It rallied that team. It got that team where it needed to be. I don't want to make fun of the old man, but Jerry Sullivan was broke. Probably had a couple broken bones too. Poor Jerry Sullivan. And then brings in Joe Brady. Then brings in an old staff, and then now brings in a young one. Usually when you go a little bit younger, things tend to go a lot better too. Blake Schilling says, wave those MFing pom-poms, Blake. Let's go Tigers. I like it. I saw Harold had a comment earlier, and Harold, son of a gun, I missed it. Charlie Viator sent us a whole bunch of stars up in this thing. Brandon says, they aren't wrong about BR, though. I love LSU, but the city freaking sucks. It's dirty, unkept, stinks, crime-ridden, abandoned buildings everywhere. I hate A&M, but College Station is a much nicer city. It's not about that, though, Brandon. It's about the simple fact that, as I'm coming up on 300 episodes as an example, that Rudy Poo son of a gun has no business whatsoever talking shit about Baton Rouge. If you're going to talk sports, you better be damn sure. You better be damn sure that you have a reason to attack a city. It can be all this. It could stink. It could be dirty. It could be unkept. It can stink. It could be crime-ridden. But when you're talking about sports, you can't talk that. You can talk trash, but don't talk that level of trash. You Rudy Poo, no good pieces of crap. Couple more. We got to get out of here. Crunch Time Sports, Advantage Network. What's up, Kenny? Says, great show as always. I appreciate that. Harold, I missed your comment. Speaking of TigerBait.com, he says you need 2 or 3. He's probably talking about drinks. Come on, man. I'm good. Y'all know what it is on this thing. Roderick, we missed you all night. He says, Blake, what's up? Navy Air Station Saigonella. I appreciate that. Thank you. Chili Vic says, hashtag ask Blake Chris Hilton or Malik Neighbors. Shit, from what I'm hearing about Malik Neighbors, hell, shit. All right. Hey. All right. Keep talking that stuff about Malik Neighbors now. All right. But give me Chris Hilton. I love Malik. That little dude go. Let me tell you something about Malik Neighbors. That dude going to get on some special teams and turn some heads. Mark my words now. Mark my words. Brian says, someone asked if Alabama had any other good sports teams than football. That's where the SEC basketball champs comment came from. I got you. I got you, BH, the lanky Linda. I feel you, cuh. Almost went through a whole show without a text message. C King says, I heard Trey Palmer has been coming on too. I'm right there with him. I'm hearing the same. Look, Trey Palmer can catch, and Trey Palmer doesn't have issues catching the football. It's over. It's over. He's your number 2. It's over. I'm telling you. Ryan says, I'm interested in seeing how Jack Besh is going to handle playing tight end. He plays aggressive like he always has a chip on his shoulder or something to prove. Ryan, you're 100% accurate with that, my friend. 100% accurate with that. Not even 1,000% accurate. My problem with Besh, and it's not really a problem. It's an issue that we got to work out. Can Jack Besh be on the line of scrimmage and talking about zone blocking schemes and 11 personnel? Can he chip a defensive end and hold on long enough that you get that inside zone and you get the center and guard flowing up to the backer, you get the other guard flying up to the backer, you got the backside tackle getting to, not really another backside backer, but to a safety, to somebody chipping the backside defensive end? I mean, can he hold the point of attack long enough? Can he give? Because guys, in the zone blocking schemes, your number one goal is getting vertical. Can he get a push? If he can't get a push, then being a tight end ain't gonna be a good thing for him. Or at least not on the line of scrimmage. Put Cole Taylor's happy ass up in there. Put Cole Taylor's happy ass up in there. That's my only issue with Jack Besh. My only issue. Can he hold the point of attack? If he can hold the point of attack, I'm completely okay with it. If he can't, guys, he ain't going to play that position. You can't. A 215-pound tight end is going to have issues with a 280, 300-pound DN. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's going to struggle. Don't freak out about it. If that kid doesn't struggle, though, shit. All right. But getting vertical and going up on a defensive end, maybe you do some things where you let him chip at the end, let Deculus or Cam Wire take over more of the end, let him go up to a backer that he can control. I don't know how they want to do that. But let's not, guys, I'm telling you, let's not act like it's not going to be a whole hell of a lot different from St. Thomas more to this. The kid's a baller. Not talking trash about him. The kid's a baller. But let's not be naive, guys. This is the SEC now. This is the SEC. Ryan Thibodeau says, them boys from the flat coming, hashtag 337. Roger says, Blake, them 337 boys. Look, Malik Neighbors is on his way now. Don't be sleeping on no Malik Neighbors now. I like that kid. I like that kid a lot. Lamar Williams says, man, I can't wait till week 1. I'm fired up. Yeah, let's go punch UCLA's Rudy Poo asses, hippie asses right in the face. Chip Kelly, long ass titty nipple having ass. Dondre says LSU will win the national title this year. We're being slept on. I believe in Coach O. We'll see this. I'll end it here. I'll end it here. No, let's do 2 more. Ryan Thibodeau says Besh is a chip, and go type of player A. Don't know what that means exactly. Scott Rodriguez says, any reports on Cardell Thomas? Let's end it here. I'll answer this question and we'll get out of here. How do I want to say this? Cardell Thomas is an interesting case and an interesting case study. I think that he's talented. I think he's got the will. I think he's got the ability. The problem with all of that is I really do think Cardell Thomas was hurt a lot worse than we were led on to believe. If he can get right, there's not a lot of people that can go up against him. But he's going up against Chasen Hines. He's going up against Anthony Bradford. He's going up against Ed Ingram. guys, he can get right, but I just there's some things I'm hearing and why he's at rehab and doing opposite trainings, guys. I think that ankle injury was much worse than we were ever led to believe. He's got to work on his fundamentals. He's got to stop leaning so much. If you're an offensive lineman, watch him. He'll lean. His shoulders will lean out in front of his tippy toes. You got to have a strong base. You got to be on the back. You got to be on your toes, but you got to have a strong base. And when you hit that defensive tackle and you shoot your hands, you got to have a strong base. You can't be leaning. Hit him with your shoulder. Hit him with the hands. Boom, boom. Double dip and then push. He's leaning too much, which is signs of that he's not fully comfortable and has a wide base. He's not comfortable in his own footwork. Whether mentally he knows it or not, Cardell's going to have to really, really start focusing on fundamentals. So he's going to have to start working on his footwork. But I think that he's a kid that's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of athletic ability, but that ankle was hurt him a lot worse than we were led on to believe. Terry, I ain't getting in that comment, dog. I ain't putting it up there, not after what I just said. Salute. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.